In this episode of Everyday Movie Recap, we will discuss the film Bedevilled 2012. Dolores' husband arrives home with a prostitute in his arms. Soon, the noises of their sexual activity fill the room. However, the wife chose to ignore it and buried her head in her bowl of food. The mother-in-law was sick of hearing it. Instead of scolding her son, she turns to her daughter-in-law and mocks her. Just then, Scarlett, a friend of Dolores's who had been away from Seoul for 15 years, arrived with her kid. Dolores hurries to shield her daughter's ears and requests that Scarlett take her away. Dolores did not want her daughter to hear the filthy scene. 5 minutes later, the sexual activity in the room ended. The prostitute then emerges and apologizes to Dolores, handing her sunscreen after noticing her tan skin. The girl finds her condition extreme and asks her to escape and go to Seoul. But she answers by saying that if she escapes, her husband will end her life. Every single day in Dolores' life, she endured forced labor and endured beatings. She even eats like an animal and let her eat on the ground. Her husband let Dolores sit at the table to eat on odd occasions when he was in a good mood. However, his brother fixated his lustful eyes on his sister-in-law. The cheater's husband realized this right away. In compliance with his brother, he went for a stroll with his daughter to let his brother make his way to his wife. His brother entered the room as soon as they departed and sexually assaulted Dolores. Father and daughter come back. Dolores is tired when her husband comes back and suddenly becomes angry and gives her a kick to the face when she speaks something bad to his family. Instead of addressing the issue, he vows to murder anyone who speaks negatively about his brother and his family. Dolores remains silent and continues to suffer in silence. She found something in her husband's pants pocket as she was folding her clothing. When she looks at it, she discovers that it is her daughter's underwear. Something was bothering her deeply. As she rushes into the room, she finds her daughter seated in front of the mirror, mimicking the prostitute from the previous day by putting cosmetics on her face and nail polish on her nails. Dolores instantly stops her daughter. She warns her not to come too close to her father, afraid that she will be sexually assaulted by her own father. Her spouse unexpectedly returns home at that very time. He kicks Dolores to the floor. He encircles his daughter with his arms and tells her to mind her own business. The woman emerged with nail polish all over her face. After 30 minutes, with a scythe in hand, she mercilessly goes for the man to get revenge. Dolores, however, let go once more as she saw her daughter curled up in his arms. She badly wanted her daughter to leave this place. Dolores thinks that Scarlett, whom she grew up with and who has returned from Seoul after 15 years, is the only one who can help her, and she is confident that she will assist her. But in her dismay, she not only did not help her but also accused her of lying about how her husband developed feelings for her daughter. She glances at Scarlett, whom she has known since childhood but who is suddenly looking like a stranger. She then realizes that no one on this island is willing to help her. In desperation, she makes a phone call, calls the prostitute that her husband brought the other day, and asks her for some help to go to Seoul. The girl helped her and arrived in a boat. Dolores hurried home with her daughter on her back while her husband was still asleep. Dolores's daughter begs her mother that she prefers they don't leave. Even though she knew deep down that she should leave her father, she didn't want to. The mother and daughter reached the coast after some time. The woman had brought the boat and paid the boatman right away. However, Dolores is unaware that the boatman is a close friend of her husband's. Dolores finally realizes that she has to take her daughter with her as soon as possible. When the man gets the boat fare, he won't get off. The woman feels uneasy. She fears that her abusive husband will take her back. All of a sudden, he comes after her. Dolores yells at the boatman to get the boat started immediately. This is her greatest fear. The gods have no mercy on her. Once again, the devil had her in his grasp. The woman cries for help, but everyone turns a blind eye. Even her monster-in-law looks on without saying anything. Instead, she gave her son the order to break Dolores's leg. When their daughter attempted to break the fight, the father pushed her, and she fell to the stairs, swiftly killing her. Dolores blankly stares at her daughter for a moment, but within seconds, she loses her sanity. She screams like a mad person and refuses to let anyone touch her. The following day, the police arrive on the island to investigate the girl's death. This gives her hope that the criminal will finally be punished. However, the elderly women's testimonials were all in agreement. They all said her daughter had accidentally fallen and died. Additionally, Scarlett, who has seen everything, is the only person Dolores can rely on. But, to her surprise, Scarlett just calmly stated that she hadn't seen anything when questioned by the police. She felt betrayed by the only person she thought she could trust in her greatest need. Anger and disbelief boiled beneath her. She could not fathom being betrayed in such a way. They all agree that her daughter's death should be treated like an accident. Dolores expressionlessly watches over her daughter's grave. To make the pain go away, she goes into the fields and digs potatoes like a robot. She had a sweaty, expressionless face. After harvesting a lot of potatoes, Dolores quits and looks towards a group of old women looking at her and gossiping while laughing. They seem to be happy about the lie they made about her daughter's death. They even have the audacity to ask why Dolores is depressed. She looks to the sky, and the sun shines on her. She thinks about all the pain from the past that she endured for many, many years. She thinks about the present, and she thinks about the future, which seems bleak and hopeless. Finally, she snaps them and looks at them with murderous eyes. She swings down her sickle, and the elderly woman falls to the ground. An elderly man is also present, and he could not move even a muscle from the aura Dolores was emitting. Dolores is about to execute the woman. They beg for their lives, promising to never make fun of her again. Dolores smiles as she stands in the field. This is just the beginning of her revenge. She observes all their terrified reactions. Dolores killed all the women. Dolores would have passed away. She lost her balance and plummeted off the edge of the cliff. The guys that had been fishing came back. Going to the well for a drink, the younger brother is the first to get off the boat. His sister-in-law arrives, and he grins and holds out his hand to welcome her. He did not know he was going to die soon. Blood spattered into her face from her brother-in-law's head having fallen off. In the end, the other two men also got off the boat. While drinking from the well, the boatman tastes blood from it. Then they see blood drops in the water after giving it a closer look. It turned out to be their brother's head. Taking full advantage of the situation, Dolores jumps right in. With her scythe, she swings at the boatman's arm. The enemy also leapt to their defense and began to counterattack. He first strikes Dolores in the body. Finally, the woman falls into a puddle. As Dolores loses consciousness, Scarlett breathes a sigh of relief. She races back home to call the authorities. However, when the phone does not work, Dolores has cut the only working signal wire. Dolores laps her tongue up and out in a seductive way. When the tongue hits the man's fingers, he lets go with a happy, excited look on his face. Right then, in an instant, the woman bit him hard and cut off his finger. The man screamed in pain. In his anger, he grabbed the axe and tried to cut her up. The woman quickly moves her head down and bites his hand. As soon as the man raised the axe, the knife cut him deeply. Dolores was lying down. She was able to get away. Right away after that, she rode up to the man with the blade and cut him very badly. Scarlett was scared as she watched the chaos happen. She made a quick run for it with the captain. They made it to the boat. Dolores went after her. The tied boat thwarted their escape. The captain attempted to untie it, but Dolores caught and killed him instantly. Scarlett did not care. She only wanted to get away and save her life from Dolores. Dolores came to the mainland and looked for Scarlett. When Scarlett woke up, she saw Dolores looking at her. She tried to kill Scarlett, but luckily, she was able to get away from her and ran into the prison cell to lock herself in. However, Dolores hammered the cell and was able to open the cell. Scarlett defended herself and killed Dolores instantly. Scarlett is able to get away from the crime, saying that she only defended herself from Dolores. After all the chaos, she went to her home in Seoul and read all the letters that Dolores wrote for her. She realized the mistake she had made and felt so guilty for ignoring all her letters. The worst people on earth are not only those who commit evil, but also those who stand by and turn a blind eye. Thank you for watching. For more content, please like and subscribe.